to me, it comes back to ownership and responsibility. Who owns the responsibility to listen to employees inside an organization? It's not always clear. I've been banging on about this for 20 years because I firmly believe it should be owned by the internal communication team. But there are many people who would, disagree with me on that.
And
And
there'll also be many organizations that don't have an internal communications team because they're smaller.
absolutely,
Yeah.
for sure. Or they only have one person
Yeah.
and that person is already overloaded with just sending stuff out. So it's not easy, but you know, it obviously it starts with the senior leadership team. They have to want to do it, believe in it, and support it. So without that, you're really not going to get very far. So that comes back to what I was saying earlier about education of senior leaders so that they understand the value of it. And that's not going to change overnight. But that does need to be addressed, for sure. But apart from that, I would then say either HR or the internal communication team, or both working together, really need to prioritize this. So, I talk to internal communication managers all the time. That's what I do. I, and I ask them quite often how much of your work is based on communicating at employees, sending stuff out, all the rest of it, organizing events where people are told stuff, compared to how much of your time and resources spent on listening. I would struggle to get beyond more than 20% of time being spent on listening. And that's fine. I understand that, but I'm not sort of saying 50-50, but shifting that balance more sort of 60-40 would be where I would be going. That does mean stopping some of the stuff that internal comms people currently do. They're always very, very busy, but some of the stuff they do is not really going to help an organization achieve its objectives, perform, increase engagement, and so on. Whereas if they stop doing some of the, what I call SOS, sending out stuff, and spent a little bit more time doing listening, that would have a big impact on employee engagement levels. And by the way, it would improve employee well-being too.
Yeah, there's something in the book which I'm about to misquote, so apologies. But so one of the things that really landed with me was about if people are seeing a survey or a listening exercise as the thing that's going to give you the answer, they're missing a trick. It should be seeing it as the sort of the beginning of the dialogue, or so.
Yeah,
There's a quote that says something like that. Yeah,
yeah. It's a survey is not a diagnostic tool. A survey is a start of the conversation, and it gives employees the opportunity to express things anonymously. Although a lot of people don't trust surveys, so that you have to prove the trust in the survey, and the only way to do that is by acting on it. That creates trust. People often say to me, why don't more people do surveys? The response rate is only 20% or whatever it is. And I said, well, 20% is not too bad actually, but if you want to get it up, that's good because it reduces the margin of error in your results. But, and they say to me, why don't more people do it? And I say, well, the main reason why response rates are often low is because employees don't see the point of doing it. They don't see any action or any response.